Okay. This is Momo, my grandmother. We call her Momo because she's from Denmark. And Momo means mother's mother.
That's
okay,
right.
so we're going to ask a few questions to this. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay. So, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Copenhagen, which is the capital of Denmark. And that's where I lived until I moved away from Denmark.
What was it like in Denmark when you were a kid?
Well, when I was 8 years old, my father died very tragically. So my mother was left with me. As I said, I was 8 years old, and then my sister was 19. And so my life kind of changed when I was 8, because then my mother had to go to work. She had been home with me. But it was okay. I went to school, and I had lots of friends to play with, so it worked out okay. There were really well, there were cars in Denmark, but we didn't own a car because the public transportation is so good over there. We would just jump on a bus or a streetcar, which ran on tracks, and that would take us wherever we wanted to go, downtown Copenhagen and to other places as well. So it was a good childhood, and I grew up, and I really liked living in Denmark.
Okay. Okay, so, what is your favorite memory from Denmark?
Oh, I have lots of memories. In my family, my mother had lots of sisters, and so I had cousins, and we got together, especially at Christmas time. We got together Christmas Eve, which is when the Danes have their big celebration for Christmas, and they open their presents, and that was always fun. Mm-hmm. We had a Christmas tree with real candles on it, and they were only turned on at very special occasions because you couldn't leave the candles burning. And we danced around the Christmas tree. We held hands, walking around the Christmas tree. We didn't really dance, and we sang Christmas carols. And then it was time to open presents. Mm-hmm. So that was fun. And then the next few days, we partied at one time at my other aunt's house, and the second day we celebrated Christmas again at somebody else's house. So we had lots of celebrations at Christmas time. I remember going to Tivoli Gardens, which is a very famous amusement park in Copenhagen. And they have rides, but they also have beautiful flowers, and they have theaters, and so I always enjoyed that. So those are some of my memories from Denmark.
Okay then. So, number 4. How old were you when you left Denmark? And where did you go?
Well, I was working for the Danish Foreign Office, they called it. It's like the State Department over here. And I was 21 years old, and I wanted to work for the State Department because I wanted to travel and see the world. So I got an opportunity to go to West Berlin. And in those days, Berlin was divided into 2. And West Berlin was occupied by the Americans and the English and the French. And East Berlin was occupied by the Russians. So we had an embassy there. And so when I was 21, that's where I went. Was there something else to your question?
Where did you go?
West Berlin.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's it. Are you done?
Well, yes.
Okay. When did you come to America, and were you scared?
Okay, so I lived in West Berlin, and that's where I met your grandfather. And he was an American soldier working, he was an engineer working in the army. And we dated and got married, and we had our first child there. And when he was 6 months old, we came to the United States because your grandpa was from Marblehead, and his parents lived in Marblehead, so we came to Marblehead, but we settled down in Salem before we moved to Marblehead. Now, what else was there something else in your question?
Were you scared?
Was I scared? No, because I was already married, and so I came here with my husband and child, and we came over, and there was family here, so maybe a little scared because it was very new, very different. Okay?
Okay. Is that all? Okay. Yeah. What was the strangest thing that you saw when you got to America?
The strangest thing I saw, well, there were lots of cars. Everybody was driving around in cars. Not too many buses and certainly no streetcars or trams. That's what I was used to. And also in Berlin, they had buses and trams. But, so that was a little different. One of the things that I was not used to from Denmark was peanut butter. I didn't know what that was. Peanut butter and jelly, I thought that was a strange thing to put in a sandwich. But, other than that, I adjusted very well.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did anyone in your family do anything amazing or famous?
I did have a brother-in-law, my sister's husband, who always liked, he was racing a bike on a track, not on the highway, on the roads, but on a track. So he went around and around, and he was the fastest. He became the Danish champion in sprint, it was called. And he was so good that in 1960, when the Olympics was in Rome, he made it on the Danish team. And he was very excited about that. But somebody at the Olympics thought maybe that he was too good and gave him the wrong time to compete. And so he missed his chance to ride his bike. And that was really sad because he had trained so hard to get there. So that was a big disappointment. But I think that was pretty amazing.
That all?
Yes.
Okay. What traditions did you bring with you to America?
I think I brought lots of traditions, food, special food that we have in Denmark. And one of them I serve on Christmas Eve, because we still do Christmas Eve in this family. And we have roast pork, and we have cabbage, sweet and sour cabbage, and potatoes. And for dessert, we have rice pudding with cherry sauce, and we have almonds in the pudding. And there's one whole almonds, and the one who gets the prized almond, the whole almond, gets a special prize. And I know you have been the recipient of that now and then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And just special food that I grew up with, I have brought over here. And one of your favorites, I know, is fricadilla, which is like a meatball, but it's made with pork, and lots of other dishes, and baking as well. I brought lots of ideas for baking over here. Okay?
I have a question.
Yes.
What was that? I remember that we usually have these cookies at
Oh,
Christmas.
bonikea.
Yes.
Yes, for Christmas. And that's a very traditional Danish Christmas cookie that I make over here. The only problem is there's one ingredient I need to get from Denmark that I can't get here. So I have to always remember to get it before Christmas arrives.
Yeah. You should be getting that soon, so.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
It's almost time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you miss your family? Do you?
Well, when I first got here, I think I missed them quite a bit. But then, when I had my own family, your mother and your aunt,
Yeah.
and then you have your uncle. So I sort of had my own family, but I do miss them a little bit. But it's been so long. I've been here for so many years. I would never go back there and live, because then I wouldn't be able to see you as often.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Is that it? Okay. Okay, last one. Do you ever visit Denmark?
I do. When Grampy and I got married, one of the conditions I had was that I could go and see my family in Denmark every other summer. So I've been going over there every other summer ever since I moved here in 1968. I've been going back to Denmark every other summer. And then my Danish family will come and visit us the off summers sometimes, like this year.
Yeah.
Right? So I really like that.
Yep.
And keep the connections going.
Yep. That it?
Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, good job, Pete.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
You did a nice job too. Okay.
Thank you.